but I did see a horrible video today from on the Ukraine. I saw a Russian like crawling out of a trench, and his like midsection's all shot up, and his right arm is shot up so that it won't work anymore. He's like whole front is covered in blood, and he's like looking back down in the trench while his buddy burns. His buddy's dead, but he's like all burnt up and burnt and like flaming burning. He's not, and he's just sits there until he dies, which doesn't take long. It's pretty rough stuff.
Did you watch the one I linked about 3 days ago? I said it was the worst one I'd seen so far.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
Really, it was impactful for me. So for the audience sake, there's a trench, and off the side of the trench, there's a hole, a small little cubby cave, and there's a dead body in front of that hole. So you think to yourself, oh, this is a video about this dead body. Maybe they're going to nade it or whatever. The drone drops the grenade. It sort of bounces off the dead body and into the hole. Poof. Grenades going poof. It's not that dramatic. It's never as bad as I think it's going to be. And the guy's not as insta dead as I expect him to be. I think a grenade's going to just wreck him. But apparently he's got a bunch of small holes in him. That's terrible. But it's just not what I thought. I thought it was an explosion, not a fragment thing until this war. So anyway, the Russian, now he's visible to the drone, and he takes his AK-47 and he puts it in his own mouth and he pulls the trigger, and that's the end of him. And it was just like, whoa, this guy decided to take the quick death. It was hopeless. And there he is now next to the dead body in front of him, two of them. Like,
was that the first suicide you'd seen?
No,
I saw a guy use a pistol like months ago, finish himself off with a pistol after a drone crippled him. Yeah, it's rough stuff. You know, get what you pay for, fuck around, find out kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I know if I put on a fucking uniform and grab a rifle and head to Mexico, it ain't gonna go well for me, and nobody's gonna feel bad.
So you've been following Ukraine?
Of course, I follow Ukraine every day, Woody. I watch the people burn.
I watch it every day too. I'm curious what's this. So tell me how close this pronunciation is. Bakhmut?
Sure, we'll go with that. That works. That's how I'd say it.
Bakhmut is a city in Ukraine, for those of you that don't watch it all the time, and it is the hottest spot happening right now. And it seems like every day the Ukrainians lose like 50 meters, 100 meters, just like bit by bit by bit. The Russians were on their doorstep and they broke a dam, and suddenly this river that is normally like 3 feet wide is 60 feet wide. And that slowed them down for a little while, but eventually the dam runs out of water and the Russians cross it. Bit by bit, they're taking Bakhmut. And I'm curious as to where this is going. Bakhmut, by the way, not a lot of strategic value. It is a ruined city. Nobody lives there anymore.
Oh, I've seen it. It's devastation. There's not a roof in the city.
There's not a roof in the city. They are just so the buildings are like positions of advantage because of their elevation. So the Russians target the buildings so that it's not a safe place to use for your lookouts, for your whatever, and to shoot down on the Russians. Every building is just ruined. And you might hear this and think, Woody, every building? Are you being
building?
Every building is ruined.
It was a city of like 70,000 people, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And now it's gone. And so there's no strategic value to it, but the Ukrainians like fighting in Bakhmut because they're winning about 5-1. That's like the kill death ratio is about a 5, which is anyone who plays COD knows that's pretty solid KD. The Russians keep going after it again and again and again because they don't want the embarrassment of giving up. And this is just how Russians fight. Russians here, they lose 5-1, and they're like, so you're telling me if we have 6, we win this? Let's do it. And so they just keep coming and coming and coming. And Zelensky, the leader of the Ukrainians, has said, you know what? We've decided we're not going to lose Bakhmut. We're gonna stick it out. We're gonna take it. We're not gonna let you guys have it. So they haven't. If you look at where the Russian force is now, they circle Bakhmut by like 300 degrees. Like it's more than 3/4. They almost have this city, and they have like a third of it. I'm going to make that up. And 2/3 is still Ukrainian controlled. 1/3 Russians actually in it, and they own about 300 degrees around it. They pretty much circled it. It's called operational encirclement, which means they have troops around one side and artillery that can reach their only escape route. Mm-hmm. And the Ukrainians are like, escape? I Why would I go anywhere? You're coming to me. I'm fine right here. And it's outrageous bravery. And I don't know where this goes from here. The Ukrainians now are bringing in more tanks and more people, and they're about to get serious about fighting back. And I'm like,
I like seeing the international stuff. Like I know that Russia is afraid to buy more cruise missiles from Iran right now because the US and NATO have told Russia that is a red line for them. If you buy Russian cruise missiles, then Ukraine can buy have our cruise missiles. How would you like that? And they're like, oh, well, we wouldn't like that at all. We would hate that if you started giving them cruise missiles.
Perfect. This is actually maybe a little more current than I've seen. The triangle in the bottom center is new to me. I see this. I watch this, guys, for an hour a day every day. Like I'm on top of this as much as I can be. And the triangle at the bottom is newly taken. At the top right, there's a well-fortified concrete manufacturing facility that I guess just provides a lot of defensive positions for whoever owns it. And the Ukrainians have lost about half of it. It looks rough. Oh, and by the way, that 5-1 KD they're enjoying, from people who know more about this than me, they say that won't last in urban fighting. You know, they're getting 5-1 KDs because they're on top of the hill as the Russians foolishly charge them again and again. And if they have to, like, say, retake this city, they won't enjoy that kind of advantage. Look at how circled they are. Like,
and I think in Total War, I would just despawn those units.
So did Russia just unsummon them? Yeah. So did Russia controlled this and now they don't, or Russia's never controlled this city?
Russia's in red. That city is what they're trying to take there, in that poor little bomb.
I'm sorry, I was trying to understand, like, this was red and then Ukraine retook it.
I'm not sure if Russia ever had this. You know, I know Russia had a lot.
They're just still in defense mode. They didn't lose it, retake it. Okay.
The Ukrainians have been in defense mode for months and months now. So this is where the hottest fighting is happening. And every so often some interesting shit, like, you know, they bomb in Russia, or they reach farther than they ever did before. They cut off some supply line to Crimea. But
Putin was complaining and saying that it was a red line for him if depleted uranium rounds were used. A lot of tanks use those, and England was just like, fuck you, we're sending them anyway. That's what that's what the Leopard likes to shoot, is depleted uranium, and we're sending Leopards. So the UK is sending their depleted uranium rounds along with their Leopard tanks.
Russia,
which it is a fair complaint, because, you know, we've talked about how there's 30 millimeter, I think, in the Warthog. Like it's real bad to be spraying an area down with depleted
Seems like
uranium.
we should, like, agree. Like, let's back off the nuclear stuff.
It's radioactive.
Yeah.
That's why I honestly didn't know, because I know that I think we use it because it's really dense, right?
We do.
It hits hard.
Yeah.
But like, it fucks with soil, it fucks with animals, it fucks with wildlife. Like, it shouldn't.
I don't think they're allowed to use it
we
here.
can avoid it.
It makes wildlife better, Taylor. You're not looking at the bright side.
No, you think that it would give bears an extra set of arms, but it gives them leukemia.
I believe it gives lizards 2 heads.
Nobody watched a movie called Leukemia Bear.
Leukemia Bear. I'm so weak. Walking around
with an IV.
Looks like a mole rat. It's a sad, cancerous bear.
I cannot stop watching this thing. It's super interesting. We'll see what happens. It seems like Republicans, by and large, don't support this war. Well, it's mixed. It's mixed. Here it is. Democrats support the war, period. That's simple. The Republicans who have real power, the ones who control the levers of power, like the Mitch McConnells, the guys who are on the right committees, they support Ukraine. They're all for it. The Republicans who are performative, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Lauren Boeberts, the Matt Gaetz, those guys do not support it. And I think Trump doesn't support the Ukraine side either. He's more pro-Russian.
He is.
That's bullshit, though. If it was Magic the Gathering, MTG, if it was her vote, and it was like, all right, MTG, it's up to you. No more war, or we continue in Ukraine. She'd vote to continue it. Like, you're right. It is 100% performative. Like, if you actually gave them the power to be like, okay, it's your vote, MTG. It's your vote. Pull them back. They wouldn't.
I don't know. She's kind of a loon.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Kyle. I
just don't trust these.
No, she's actually kind of Looney Tunes. If you watch her speak enough and like hear enough about her, she's pretty wild. I love that she's out there though. I like politics to be entertaining.